Mine work? Yep, okay. So your success in Primerica is tied directly to the quality of questions you learn to ask. Our words paint pictures. Okay. So most people are, I'm botching these terms. I think it's visual spatial learners. Okay, which means that when you talk, people form pictures in their mind. Okay? So our tools are words, people think in pictures, so we want to paint attractive, beautiful pictures. If you're not using the right words, you're not communicating properly, you can unintentionally create fear and negative pictures. And when people are fearful, when they're confused, when they're paralyzed, when they're over and analyzing, they don't move forward. Okay? Now, if you think about it, right, probably, and I mean this sincerely, probably the best person I know at doing this is Samir. He's really very good with his words, but that's not an accident. He studies people that communicate really well. We share a lot of stuff. You know, and I'm not saying they're all the stuff we share are things we agree with. See, some people, they don't listen to things they don't agree with. I listen to stuff I don't agree with just to figure out how they communicate, what words they say, their tonality, their inflection, their body language, their eye contact. Right? You guys know this. A lot of the stuff I study a lot of whole life companies. A lot of them. How are they selling? Right? Xander sent me something the other day. He said, man, I sent a quote to somebody for whatever it was, $700 a month, which is great, right? I'm not going to say it's an average whole life, but it's common in whole life. It's common in IUL. Many people, a family spending $1,500 a month on insurance policies. We see that all the time. How do they sell these policies? What are they saying? How do they get, and their clients are the same as our clients. They don't have that kind of money. We're in there selling way more coverage in investment program, and we can barely get $125 from them. $50 for insurance and $75 for investments. And they're spending $680 on an IUL policy. What do they do? What are they saying? What's their marketing? When we say, oh, the fees, how do they keep them in this product? So even though I don't agree with what they're saying, I want to know, how are they communicating? And they use the words. Infinite bank. Yeah, it makes me excited. Be your own bank.
Oh my God.
Right? Like, you know, these terms, they're exotic. So Tia, very good with words, right? When I go back, I listen to her stuff that she talks, YouTube. You know, the KT, I'm like, wow, that's good. And it's not just big words, right? Obviously, I was saying infinite bank and stuff like that, but sometimes it's simple phrases. But you just have to be a good communicator, right? And people can only learn and listen in positive commands. I'm not talking about positive tones, right? If I say something, I say, don't put your hand on the stove. You can't think of that. You can't think, don't put your hand on the stove. That's not you. You will automatically think you're putting your hand on the stove. If I say, remove your hand from the stove, then you can actually see yourself removing your hand. So this just goes to show how people think. People remember stories more than anything else. This is the biggest thing in communication, right? Stories, it captures our attention quickly, and you'll remember it. So, some people, they're very good with facts, they're very good with numbers, right? There's a book somebody recommended to Samir and I a long time ago. It was called Story Selling for Financial Advisors. A pretty good book, but the concept of the book was great, and it opened up with the famous saying, facts tell, stories sell. Right? Did you hear what I said? Did you write it down?
I wrote that down 5 different times.
blank stare. So, in a story, there's a problem, a solution, and what life looks like after. Okay? And I'm quoting a book, another book that was referred to us by a great friend of mine called Building a Story Brand. It's a really good book. Just write it down. Don't blurt out. What do you think is the most important part of this? Okay, so you're telling a story. And think of it for your perspective. Okay, you're watching a movie. People like to watch movies. I'm a huge movie buff. I love watching movies. That's like my favorite thing. Love watching. You like watching movies? Huh? Huh? What captures your attention? What gets you engaged? Okay, of these three.
The problem.
What it looks like after.
You like Luke Skywalker? Nah, we like Darth Vader. I like Batman. I love the Joker. Right? Yo, this dude is a menace. He's causing all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
How are they going to get this guy? That's what engaged. See, a lot of you guys, and I mean this, like you guys know this, I do my op meeting, and I take a lot of pride in my op meeting. My op meeting is not talking about how great Primerica is. A lot of you guys do a great job of that, talking about business and business ownership and all that stuff. I don't talk about that. I spend a good, if not 30, 40 minutes talking about how much jobs suck. Because that's what I'm going for. That's who I'm going to. Has anybody been laid off? Has anybody been shut down? Has anybody worked for a crazy person? Has anybody been really happy with their job, then asked to commute someplace different? Has anybody liked their coworkers and then assigned a different manager? Has anybody got a title promotion? Has anybody been harassed? Treated unjustly? See, that gets somebody excited. I can talk, and we joke about this just so you know, right? And we know this. All of our examples in the op meeting about the business, they hear in all the other meetings. Now, many of them are in a hotel. Some are in a house. And it doesn't have this, it hits different when it's financial services versus pots and pans. You know, the Hamburg Chef. We're a $100,000 company, right? It hits different when it's an $8 billion company, but that's not what resonates with people. People want, if you can talk about a villain, and I'll read it. Every story needs a villain. The villain is the number one device storytellers use to give conflict a clear point of focus. Screenwriters and novelists know the stronger, more evil, more dastardly, I don't know what that word means, the villain, the more sympathy we will have for the hero, and the more the audience will want them to win in the end. This translates into audience engagement. If we want our customers' ears to perk up when we talk about our products and services, we should position those products and services as weapons they can use to defeat a villain, and the villain should be dastardly. The villain doesn't have to be a person, but without question, it should have personified characteristics. If we're selling time management software, for instance, we might vilify the idea of distractions. Right? So, I'll talk about how I talk about our financial plan, right? No, we do, it's a normal financial plan. That's all it is, right? We give a retirement analysis, an insurance analysis, we give them a plan that, now, is it a little bit more intricate than a normal financial services? Maybe, because a lot of them don't touch debt and some of the other products that we have. But I like using some of these words, right? It's a cutting edge digital tool, works like a GPS for your money. Why do I say GPS? Why do I say that?
Everybody uses it.
Okay. So there are a few of you, okay, that used to drive before a GPS. Right, Ron? I mean, before the horse and buggy.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Rod, we got you.
Okay. But do you guys remember when you drive? I don't get in the car now if I don't have my Waze app. I want to know where the cops, where the feds. Okay? So I want to know where the cops are, and I want to know how to get there. I wouldn't drive to Laurel without my GPS. Everybody uses it. We didn't have that. We drove. You had a map. You had to go with somebody that had been there before. And then always you're going to get lost on a long road. Call them up. Man, I hope they're home. I told you. I went on the second right. What street? I'm looking at the Walgreens right now. This is what you had to do in the car. And then you start yelling at your wife.
Oh my goodness.
Right? Best quote in the history of Primerica. The company has made me realize I'm a narcissist. Samir, this is what happens on Saturday training when I'm running. Why did you guys applaud that?
Oh my God.
Greatest line I've ever heard in 21 years of this business. The company. You think? You're introducing your wife for her 30th birthday and you're talking about you. And your journey. Yeah, you think you're a narcissist? Yes. I vote yes.
Oh my
But anyway, you know, people, you can't even imagine going in your car without your GPS to a place you wouldn't go. It doesn't matter how close it is, how far it is. If you don't know where it is, you always plug it in. That's why you use that, because people understand. Like, and you could say that. Could you imagine going someplace without your GPS? They'd look, that you don't know. But that's what they do in their financial life. That's why people are lost. That's why they're wasting money. That's why they're overspending. They haven't earmarked their money, so it just goes anywhere. It shows you exactly, great word, exactly how to get from where you are to where you want to go. It provides simple to follow directions and reroutes as needed, so people can spend less time worrying about money and enjoying their life more. Thomas will send this out. Okay. We're a lot like Amazon, right? Now, we used to use stories. We still use them. We use McDonald's. You know, Samir, let me know a long time ago these are really old, outdated stories, and he's right? I use McDonald's, but you could use Chipotle. The big one is Amazon, right? Amazon has revolutionized the way we do business. It's in my lifetime, there's probably 3 or 4 great American success stories or great business. This is the one that I really love because I like to study Jeff Bezos and what he's done. People gain a clear path to where they want to go. People say, hey, how do you get paid? How does it work? We're a lot like Amazon. People gain a clear path where they want to go. They find out they may need to make some changes in their insurance or investments or a new mortgage loan. We have established relationships with some of the best brand name companies, and when that business is transacted, those companies compensate us. Now, you can see, like I said, it's not about big words. I know sometimes people think that it's not. What does our program do? We help people get out of debt fast, save more money, invest better, accumulate more for retirement, college, married couples being on the same page. when you go and you sit down with people, and especially, I don't know, for me, when I actually sit down in their home, I'm sure you can do it on Zoom, and I'm not knocking Zoom for the appointments, because I know there's incredible advantages of doing a lot more appointments on Zoom. But in my experience, you can see the friction, you can feel the tension, people's spending habits, you can see the side eyes and the judgment, and a lot of it, I'm not saying that we can eliminate all of it, I used to say this all the time. My job is to try to get you on the same page. If one person's here and there, at least it's on the same page somewhere. Mm-hmm. And sometimes going through it can help. When we talk about events, I got this from other companies. Okay? Now, they don't do what we do, but I liked it. Okay? We do free educational events on money. They are amazing. I put this last one in. They are actually really entertaining. They deal with helping people saving more money, spending less, getting out of debt, investing smarter, or things like retirement, college. It's designed for all markets. I put that in. Okay? You don't have to have $1 million already. All right, I'm just trying to come up with some different ways to market what we do. Because if you can rally people to events, our events, which we do weekly, sometimes twice a week, some of you, right, you do your own events. It's not training. Sometimes it's training, but for your guests and clients to come down, you got to make it an experience. What do? Do you know how most financial companies focus on wealthy people? Do you know how much you need to get professional advice from Merrill Lynch, etc.? $250,000. Do you see a problem? We were founded to educate and help the middle market. Would you agree there's a big need for that? Is this a pyramid? What's the porcupine? Write it down. Don't answer it. What's the porcupine? Raise your hand if you think you know it.
Spiky animal?
That's true.
Oh, man.
What is it?
I wrote commission.
Huh?
Commission.
Commission? Good guess. No. So Sheila, you know what the porcupine is? No. Adrian.
It's a way to handle objections where you ask the objection back to them and it stumps them a little.
So it's a form of, it's answering a question with a question. That's called the porcupine, right? Is that what you're going to say, Ryan?
Yeah.
Answering a question with a question. All right, it's probably the most used tactic by any child in America. They invented this. It's biblical. It's like in the creation of man. Why don't you take out the trash? Why don't you take out the trash? So porcupine is a very effective method, right? Because people say something and you can pivot and ask a question, and questions control, right? Write that down, and questions control. Right, when you make statements, you push. When you ask questions, you pull people in. You can hear the real thing. You can, like I said, I say this in setting appointments all the time. If I'm trying to set an appointment with Jen and she says, "What's it all about?" and I say, "Oh, it's investing money, showing people how to get out of debt." When I stop there, she's going to fire another question at me. How long does it take? 45 minutes. Do I have to buy anything? She's going to keep firing questions. But if I say and I answer and then I ask a question, I say, "Hey, It's helping people get out of debt, saving more, it's really educational. Does 7:30 on Tuesday work for you? Now I'm back in control, right? So you always want to ask questions when you're dealing with people, right? And Porcupine's a great way to do it, right? So like, no, why do you ask? Now, and this is a tip for everybody, okay? When you ask a question, and I'm going to be kind of emphatic here because I've heard this happen when I'm dealing with people in the op meeting, right? They're doing the right technique, they're saying the right thing, but it's also how you say it, right? You don't ask the question back with any hostility, right? Like one of the questions is this sales? Are you interested in sales? Right? Because some people, and I mean this, look, it's okay. I get it. You know, I joke about Samir, what I was saying, right? Like, you know, that's not an accident that he's a really good communicator. He studies people. He listens to podcasts, people that speak well. We watch his videos. Obviously, we listen to all those.
Make the decision right now to take control of your future.
Can't cut it off.
Sure. I've never heard that. What was I saying? Yeah, he studies that, right? But when Samir first came, he couldn't put a sentence together. He's so nervous, so just unsure. You know, if I didn't script every single word out, he wouldn't do the presentation. He'd read it. A lot of times when he's sitting with somebody, he's just looking down, reading it. Then, you know, he thought he was slick. One time he put it on the floor, but the desk was glass. It's 100% true. No exaggeration. He just put it down. I'm like, they can see it. I was gonna read it. But a lot of presentations, thousands, tens of thousands, right? And so yeah, you get better with people, you listen better. You also, you know, we have a lot of people, not just our mentors, but we see a lot of people, how they interact with people, whether they're out to eat, whether it's at fast start schools, whether it's a car ride, you pick them up. You pick up on so many things. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we try to emulate people that have good people skills, that listen really well, that speak. You remember phrases and statements that they use, and you got to become a wordsmith. Not just because you're going to be some slick talking salesperson, but because you're using your words to paint images in minds, and that's how people move. And it's important. And you know, in unintended consequences, this is going to help you in your life. You know, marriage, kids, co-workers, neighbors, parents, friends. You know, if you can get your point across and your idea, you can get people to come around to your way of thinking. And you can use that very positively. Is this a pyramid, MLM, network marketing? No. Why do you ask? Don't say it like I just said it. No. Why do you ask? We are a lot like a real estate agency. Do you know how real estate works? Great question. So you're not just talking and explaining and starting going broker agent. Asking. Do you know how it works? Yeah, sure, I know how it works. Right? I do this in the op. Somebody just sat in the op, you know. But I don't just say, oh yeah, okay. Tell me. And I don't say it like challenging him. I kind of like, it's like a bear trap. Tell me. Then they can't say it because they don't know how it works, right? I always go through Rich Dad, Poor Dad in my op meeting. I said, yeah, has anybody read the book? Everybody's hand goes up. I go, yeah, who's read it? They go, yeah, tell me, what's it about? Yeah, I read the book. Right? And then I don't shame them. but I'll say, let me explain what the book is, right? They listen more when they know. He just called me on my BS. No, you don't. You've seen a real estate sign. You've heard Long and Foster. You know Redfin. You don't know how it works. Because if you knew how it worked, you wouldn't say that about our company.
Right.
Because now, Samir knows this. Now, like I said, this is not a plug for real estate, but aren't the most disruptive, trendy real estate brokers, aren't they all recruiting now? XP, Kellerwood, right? I don't know the other ones, but what are the other ones that are like, they're going public?
EXP is a primary copy.
I mean,
That's-
right?
And then also, real brokerage. That's a new one that's out, that's.
And they're all like, yo, recruit multiple brokers, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Discount brokerage, underserved, you have the whole thing, and that's what they're doing now. There are brokers and agents. Who would you rather be? Why? Keywords, offices, license, financial. Is this sales? Are you interested in sales? Some people are. That's why you don't want to just completely dismiss it and say, are you interested in sales? Listen. Ask questions, listen. If no, so what you're saying is you don't want to pressure people. That's usually what I get, because people have dealt with an unprofessional salesperson. Obviously, this has come straight from Hector, right? He does a really good job. Listen to his audio. Somebody can send it out. You can send it out to your thread or your thread. Overcoming objections, one of the best things. And this is why, and I mean this, Brandon. I'm not picking on you here, but I'll use you to illustrate. Just because you heard something one time, you need to hear it again. Just, if I pick Samir's notebooks, okay, you know how many times in there he's going to have get why? 1,000? I wrote it a couple times. No. You need to write 1,000,000 times. You know how many times you write your goals? 10 by 10,000 RVP. You got to keep writing it down. You know how many times someone told me the same book, read it, same audios? I go back, I listen to all the audios. Xander sends them out, Val sends them out. Those are the two people that send them out to me, right? I'll listen, I'll catch 15 minutes of it, 20 minutes. I've heard this for real 50 times. Some of them over 100. You just got to hear it over and over, man. You're just programming your mind. Are you interested in sales? So what you're saying is you don't want to pressure people. You kind of get to the real, right? But do you like to help people? So if you found this was not sales-ish and you could really help people, would you be open? Is this commission? Are you interested in commission? If no, so you don't want an insecure income. You guys know this. I do this every week in the op meeting. It's just, I don't want to say it's comical, it's just an oxymoron. It just doesn't make any sense at all. I always do the cash flow quadrant, and I always ask, I say, so where would you, just if you could only pick one, where would you rather be? Employed, and I go 100,000. Employed, 100,000. You got a job, you have a commute, you got a boss, or say you could be self-employed. I don't even talk business owner, I haven't gone to this part. I said, say you could be self-employed, 70,000, but you create your own schedule, you don't have a boss. I said, where would you rather be? And then I would say, if I've done it properly, 75% of the room says 70,000. But 30% always says the 100,000. And I'll always ask them, why'd you pick the 100,000? I say, well, and they'll say stability, job, I like structure, all this stuff. So, are you working now? They go, no. Oh, what happened? What happened? Oh, wistful. I got laid off. I said, hey, you can pick the job, but I don't want you using that to describe it. Don't say a job's stable. Because a job's stable till it's not stable. But they always do it. They're laid off. They're looking for a job. They had a job, got fired. And then they say stability. So you don't want to, what if you could start part-time and I could show you a consistent income of $1,000 a month? better months, you could earn 2,000 to 3,000. Would you be open to at least learning more? Is this commission? Are you interest commission? If no, I totally understand. Probably 99% of us who are here felt the same way. But what if you started part-time and before you came full-time, you knew for sure you would earn at least what you earn now, but had a chance to double it in the next 12 months? Would you be open to at least learning more? Open, learning more. Easy. I mean, they can say no, for sure, but you know they're closed off then. All right. So month end is next Tuesday.